Greetings, JC here for Interface. Today we're going to take a look at an application which I consider to be indispensable if you are running any version of Microsoft Windows. It's CCleaner. It's open source and it is absolutely free and available for download online. Let's jump in and take a closer look at CCleaner and we'll talk about exactly what it will do for you. Before we get into talking about CCleaner itself, let's talk about your Windows PC and some of the extra data that might be sitting around on your hard drives. CCleaner is a program that will automatically go through your hard drive and look for these files. When it finds them, it'll generate a list and allow you to delete them cleanly and safely. We're going to look at CCleaner in a Windows XP installation today. However, CCleaner is at home with all versions of Windows from Windows 2000 to the latest version of Windows 7. Getting CCleaner? Real easy. All you do is go to your favorite browser and type in www.CCleaner.com. Basically, it's cleaner with two C's, and you'll automatically be redirected to www.Piriform.com, which is the organization that makes CCleaner available. To get CCleaner, simply click the download link here. We went ahead and did that. And as you can see, you are encouraged to donate because this is open source software. Now, I usually use this first mirror right here, which takes me to this site where you see that CCleaner is available for download. Download the latest version of CCleaner. We'll go ahead and do that right now. And our download starts. I'm going to tell it that yes, I do want to save it, and it is already here. Now, to get to our download of CCleaner, I have it in my Downloads folder on this Windows XP machine. We'll go and grab the installation file, and we will install it. Yes, I do want to run. And the installer pops up, and the first thing it asks is what language we would like to use. We're going to use English. And then it's going to explain to us that the installer will install the software. It's going to ask us if we want to accept the agreement. I will agree. Then we have some options that come up here. We can have CCleaner be a desktop shortcut. We can add start menu icons. We can also add CCleaner to various menus on the system where we can right-click and access CCleaner, and we can have it automatically check for updates. Usually the only thing that I allow it to do is to create the start menu shortcuts. CCleaner is a program that you'll use periodically, and finding it in the shortcut menu should be just fine. You can configure it however you like. So let's install the software. It only takes a couple of seconds. And once the software is installed, CCleaner will automatically launch. And it opened up behind our Downloads folder. Here is CCleaner in its raw state. First of all, let's go through some of the options that you might want to set up for CCleaner. Take a look here at the Options menu. Here are the settings. You can go through and change different settings with the program. You can run the cleaner automatically when the computer starts by putting it in the Start menu. And of course, here's the Add Run Cleaner that we already saw in the installation process, and we opted not to do that. We can tell it what drives to look in, and we can also choose a method that the data that we're going to be deleting from the machine will be deleted by. Normal is fine, it just goes in and deletes. However, if it's a high security situation, CCleaner will do a high security delete where that information is deleted and completely removed from the hard drive by being wiped several times. So that's something that you may want to consider doing if you're in a system where security is important. Let's take a look at cookies. Cookies are pieces of information that are downloaded to your computer from web pages. Some cookies are quite useful. Other cookies are just garbage and you can blow out. I usually go ahead and remove all of my cookies. However, cookies contain information like configuration for individual web pages that you go to all the time. Cookies also hold things like your shopping cart on favorite shopping sites. So if you've gone to Amazon and put a lot of things in your cart but you haven't paid for it yet, you may want to consider hanging on to that cookie. So that this is a place that allows you to do that. Here's a very useful part of the system here that CCleaner has called Include, where you can actually go in and you can tell it to look in different folders on your system, and it will remove everything that's in that folder. If you have several hard drives and temporary folders on each one, this is where you can set that up. I always set it up to clear the download folder in my documents, because usually if I download something and I want to keep it, I'll put it somewhere else, but if not, CCleaner will automatically go through and take it off. Just like you can include files, you can also tell it to exclude certain files. If you don't want it to clean out your temporary directory, for instance, then you can tell it to not do that. And finally, there are the advanced settings, and this is for advanced users. You might want to do a little bit of research on this before you jump in here. Going up to tools, we have a lot of very interesting tools available to us that make working with Windows and cleaning up a Windows installation a breeze. We have an uninstall menu which shows all of the software that's installed on our machine, and we can uninstall it from here. Also, we have a startup manager that shows us all of the entries in the startup menu. These are programs that run automatically when Windows starts up. And here you can edit the programs and let it know exactly what you want to run. You can either disable or delete any of the keys. And we have some other things here. We can also delete old system restore points that are saved on the computer. You can do this to remove all of the system restore points, or you can just save like the last 2 or 3. This will free up a lot of hard drive space. However, system restore, if it's running on your machine, is something that I would recommend that you don't mess with too much. If you are in a big crunch for drive space for some reason, this is an option here. This part of CCleaner is a tool called Drive Wiper that allows you to actually clear out the free space on your system drive on your Windows machine. This is useful if you just want to make sure that it's extra squeaky clean and there's no data that's accidentally been left behind. When a file is deleted from a computer, it doesn't actually disappear from the hard drive itself. It simply disappears from the index that tells the computer where to find it. And this space where the file used to live is listed as free space. Sometimes this can cause conflicts with video recording and audio recording on some systems. So if you just want to make sure that you're nice and squeaky clean and you don't have any old data lying around, you can run this particular piece of software. Moving on up here, we have a very interesting part of the system that allows us to clean out the Windows Registry. The Windows Registry is a set of data files that Windows 2000 and later versions of Windows uses to keep track of configuration files for individual programs, and lots of operating system settings as well. As you use the computer, the registry can get full of old, obsolete data. So, if you want to clear this out, it's quite easy to do. All you have to do is scan for the issues. On this particular installation, you'll see there's only 3 issues. However, on a computer that has not been cleaned in a long time, you can have thousands of old and broken registry keys that need to be taken out. Some software manufacturers say that you should not clean out your registry because it will destabilize the software. The nice thing about CCleaner is that it allows you to create a backup before you actually do any modifications to the registry, so if you run into any of these problems, you can always restore your old data. If you actually have this happen, I would recommend that you update the software that is having the problem, because this indicates an instability in the software itself, and you need to go ahead and take care of that. Then you can go back and clean your registry again. In this case, we're going to go ahead and clean the registry without making a backup, because I'm very confident that the system is stable enough not to be backed up. As a matter of fact, I very rarely ever create backups of the registry unless I see a huge number of errors come up which could indicate some instability in the system. So we'll go ahead and fix all of those. As far as removing things from the system that don't belong, this is a relatively clean version of Windows XP here, so we only have 25 megabytes. I've seen this on machines that have not been cleaned run into the gigs. Let's go ahead and run that now. And as you can see, all of that is now removed from the system. Taking a look here at some of the options that you get on the cleaner section, which is really the meat and potatoes of the CCleaner application, you'll see that you can check off all kinds of extra data that you can remove from the system. However, this is where you need to be very careful here, where you have the custom settings. If you check everything under Advanced, this will actually remove a lot of the configuration files from your Windows installation. And what will happen is that your Windows installation will become as if you just installed it. For instance, the Start Menu cache here will remove everything that comes up in your Start menu that is based on a history of what you have clicked. So anything that you use all the time would show up in this Start menu. So there are lots of things like that. However, it's very useful to check those and run CCleaner if you want to reset a Windows system. Down here at the bottom of the Advanced menu is where you will find the setting to activate the drive wiper that we looked at earlier. Keep in mind that if you do want to use this particular tool in CCleaner, that this takes a long time, especially if you have a large drive. So there's a quick overview of what the CCleaner program can do for you. CCleaner is extremely powerful software and must be used with caution. My advice is that if you don't understand what all of this unchecked stuff is here in the default settings, except for down here where I've told it I want to get rid of the old hotfix installers for updates from Microsoft, those will be automatically removed. Custom files and folders, which we looked at earlier, where it will go to its different folders throughout the system and clean those out. Other than that, you can go ahead and leave these unchecked. The amount of extra data that will be removed from your computer, even on the default settings, is amazing. Before we leave, you can also go through here and set this for different things to be removed from things like web browsers and web applications in the Applications menu. If there are certain things that you find that it clears out, certain histories, then you can tell the system that you'd like to hang on to those, or you can have it automatically remove them. So you need to keep that in mind. It's extremely powerful software. And also keep in mind that CCleaner, if it's a program that you like, is an open source program that is supported by your donations. So when you go to download your first update, if you like CCleaner, then make sure that you throw a couple of bucks via PayPal to the good folks at Piriform who make this available for download absolutely free. So there you have it, a look at CCleaner.com. JC here for Interface. Don't forget, Interface happens Fridays at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Pacific. That's 12 midnight GMT at live.scottydonline.com. See you there. Thanks for watching.